Welcome to everyone. This is K. Manjula, Assistant Professor in Commerce, Dr. BRR Government College, Jadcherla, Mehboob Nagar. Now, different styles of leadership have been observed. Yesterday, I said about positive leadership and negative leadership. That is motivational styles of leadership. Whether a leader can adopt a positive leadership style or a negative leadership style. And based on the supervision also, leadership styles are classified. And again, on the basis of behavior also, that is traits. On the basis of behavior also, leadership styles are classified. Traits theory, we observed that the leader qualities depends upon the qualities of an individual. And today, the most important leadership style is the managerial grid. Now, grid itself says that it is like a box, quadrillion box, wherein each box there are different styles of leadership. So a manager, he may be in any one of the grid, first grid, second grid, third grid, or fourth grid, or in between the grid. A manager can adopt any one of the leadership styles in the grid to attract the subordinates. So this managerial grid leadership style is the most popular style of leadership. This leadership is widely accepted, and this leadership style, that is managerial grid style, is developed by Robert Blake and Jane Mountain. Both of them together prescribed the managerial grid theory, that is Robert Blake and Jane Mountain. This theory is also called as Blake and Mountain theory. It can also be called as managerial grid or Blake and Mountain theory. Now, both of them said that in the managerial grid, 5 different types of leadership are located in 4 quadrants. 5 leadership styles. That is, in all the 4 boxes, different types of 4 leadership styles, and in between the box, in the middle, 1 leadership style. So that is the reason Blake and Mountain specified that this theory consists of 5 leadership styles. 5 because in 4 quadrants, 4 leadership styles, and in the middle, 1 leadership style. So there are 5 different styles of leadership. Now it is represented in the form of a graph, that is on the x-axis and on the y-axis. Now on the vertical axis represents a leader concerned for people. On the vertical axis, it is considered that how a leader gives importance to the people. So vertical axis is mainly concerned with the concentration on people. Now this is described as consideration in Ohio State University theory. Ohio State University theory, which I explained, says that there are 2 different styles of leadership. One is consideration, second one is the initiating structure. Now in Ohio State University theory, consideration, if leadership style is taken into account, the person adopting consideration style will give more importance to the employees' feelings. They prefer to communicate with the subordinates. They think in point of view of subordinates. That is consideration style. Now in case of initiating structure, leader adopting initiating structure style mainly concentrates on the task accomplishment. He gives importance to the accomplishment of task rather than the people. So that is Ohio State University theory, wherein leadership styles are classified into two. One is consideration style, second one is the initiating structure style. Now the same two feelings are considered here in managerial grid theory, and on the vertical axis the leader give importance for the people, that is concern for people, it is called as consideration, and on the horizontal axis leader's concern is for the task. On the horizontal axis leader give importance to the task, so it is described as initiating structure. Indirectly, on the vertical axis it is an democratic style, and on the horizontal axis it is an autocratic style. On the vertical axis it is concern for people, on the horizontal axis it is concern for task. So these are the things which are considered in the managerial grid theory. Now whatever the points explained above, if we see it in the form of a graph, on the horizontal axis concern for production is given, on the vertical axis concern for people is given, x-axis and y-axis. X-axis is representing concern for production and y-axis is representing concern for people. Now he divided the total degrees into 9. Lowest is 1 and highest is 9, because 9 points are marked on the x-axis and on the y-axis. On the x-axis, point 1 denotes lesser degree, point 9 denotes higher degree of concern for production. And on the y-axis, the same, 1 denotes concern for people with lesser degree, 9 denotes concern for people with higher degree. So each axis is divided into 9 units. X-axis is divided into 9 units and y-axis is also divided into 9 units. Now Blake and Moulton identified 5 points on the grid. They identified 5 points on the grid, and these are the basic leadership styles they are specifying. Now first leadership style is impoverished. First leadership style impoverished, within bracket 1, 1 is given, where concern for people is 1 and concern for production is also 1. The same, degree of concern for people is 1 and degree of concern for production is also 1. Now in the first leadership style, minimum efforts are extracted from the people to get the work done, so that they can sustain in the organization. I said degree 1 means lesser degree. So they are exerting lesser pressure on people and lesser pressure for production. So both are given equal importance. People and production both are given equal importance without having more pressure on the employees. So here manager is not exerting more pressure on the subordinates, and subordinates are more interested to live in the organization. So this grid helps in the sustainability of employees, that is impoverished. Next, second is country club. Now country club within bracket 1 comma 9 is given, where thoughtful attention to needs of people, more attention is given to the needs of people so that their needs are satisfied and a friendly atmosphere is maintained in the organization. So country club, wherein 1 comma 9, the second grid, where more attention is given to the people and less attention for the production, and it helps to maintain proper relations with the employees, comfortable friendly relations with the employees, so that they can live in the organization. That is second one. Next, third, task. Now in case of task, 9 comma 1 is given, where higher importance is given to the production and lower concern for the people. So 9 is the concern for production and 1 is the concern for people. That is the third quadrant, where task is given more importance than for the people. So these three quadrants, impoverished, first quadrant where equal importance is given to both people and production. In case of country club, the second quadrant where more concern is given for people and less concern for production. And third quadrant is task, where more concern is given for production and less concern is given for the people. Next, middle of the road. Middle of the road is 5 comma 5 in the diagram, where equal importance is given. Adequate organization performance is possible through balancing the work and the people. Here the manager is an efficient and technical expert, where he is balancing both morale of the people and production of the organization. He is concerned with the morale of the people and work of the organization also. He is maintaining a proper balance between the two. So that is the reason it is called as middle of the road, within bracket 5 comma 5. Next, team 9 comma 9, where higher degree of concentration on people, higher degree of concentration on production. That is, it want to achieve the work or complete the work from the committed people in the organization. It concentrates on committed people and it concentrates on the accomplishment of work also. So fifth quadrant is 9 comma 9. So these four quadrants are mentioned by Blake and Mountain. And a leader may be in any one of the quadrant depending upon the approach he is adopting for his employees. So leadership styles naturally influences the people in the organization to work. And this is one of the most prominent theory, Blake and Mountain theory. And the next leadership style is Fiedler's contingency theory. Now Fiedler says that leadership depends upon the contingency, upon the happening of an event or not happening of an event. It depends upon the contingency. Now this approach is the result of most extensive programs of research. Now, a lot of research has been carried on by Fiedler. After a thorough research regarding the different styles of leadership, he made a theory by analyzing all the results of the leadership styles and said that effective group performance carried out by Frederick Fiedler, originally at the University of Illinois and more recently at the University of Washington. So he observed the group performance, that is, originally he observed the group performance in two universities, University of Illinois and University of Washington. Now, out of his observations in group performance and his various research, he developed a theory called as contingency theory. Managerial personality forming the basis of this theory is best described as ranging from a strong task orientation at one extreme to a strong human or interpersonal relations at the other extreme. Now he says that there are two extremes for a manager. For two extremes, one is strong task orientation and second one is strong interpersonal relations or human orientation. A manager personally has to keep in mind these two extremes, that is strongly task oriented or strongly human relations oriented. Now he has to think whether a task oriented is the best style of leadership or a human oriented leadership is the best style. Now Fiedler says that task oriented or people oriented leadership basically depends upon the contingencies. Actually, that person is not by nature a task oriented. But whether to be a task oriented leader or a people oriented leader basically depends upon the contingencies or the situations that makes him to adapt that style of leadership. So Fiedler is mainly concerned with what are the situations that are forcing him to adopt that style of leadership. What are the contingencies that are making him to adopt that style of leadership? So that is Fiedler's contingency theory. Again, the same thing, whatever the Blake and Mountain described, they also gave two styles of leadership wherein on the horizontal axis and on the vertical axis, concern for production and concern for people. Here also, task orientation and people orientation, that is interpersonal human relations. So Fiedler described that the style of leadership depends upon the contingencies, whether to adopt a task oriented leadership or a human oriented relationship. Now he considered three different types of variables for this theory. Fiedler considered three different types of variables for his theory. First variable is the leader-member relations. Leader-member relations are classified into two: good relations or poor relations. Now if we see the diagram, leader-member relations are two: good relations or poor relations. Now in the first variable he says that the relations may be good or bad. That depends upon the leader being liked or disliked by the group of supervisors or subordinates. Now the leader, if it is good, he is liked by all. If he is bad, he is disliked by the subordinates. So in the first variable, leader-member relations are good and poor. This is good when the leader is liked by all the people in the organization. This is poor when the leader is disliked by the group of subordinates. So that is leader-member relations. Next, task structure. Now in the second variable, a leader may concentrate on the task at high rate or at a low rate. So high and low are the two things which are considered in the second variable. Now it is said to be high or low depending upon the extent to which work to be done and goals to be achieved are defined clearly. Now this task structure, high or low, depends upon how the work is assigned to the subordinates. Whether it is clearly mentioned to the subordinates or it is not clearly mentioned to the subordinates. If it is clearly mentioned, the task structure is high. If it is not clearly mentioned, the task structure is low. If a leader is good at communication, then his task structure will be high and he is a good leader. If he is not good at communication, his task structure is low and he is poor at people. Next, third one is power position. Now, power position of the leader again may be strong or weak. It is strong or weak depending upon the amount of reward or coercive and legitimate power possessed. Now, we can say that the position of power of the leader may be strong or weak. If the power is strong, then he adopts coercive measures, that is threatening the subordinates. If the power is weak, he requests and he makes motivate the subordinates through rewards. So power position may be strong or weak of the superior. So Fiedler says that whatever the conditions that are there in the organization, those conditions are classified into three variables. On the basis of these three variables, that is leader-member relations, task structure and power position. On the basis of these three variables, there is a possibility of contingency happening in the organization. Now, depending on the contingency, the leadership style differs, whether it is concern for people or concern for production. So, depends upon the contingencies that are arising in the organization. So, he may lie in between these three variables. A leader may lie in between these three variables depending upon the contingency. That is leader-member relations, task structure and power position. And in every variable we have two things. First one is a leader may be good or poor, and in the second one a leader may have a high task situation or a low task situation. In the third one, the third variable, a leader may be strong or a leader may be weak. So these are the three variables considered by Fiedler in his contingency theory. Now next one is path goal theory of leadership. Now path goal theory of leadership, by name we can say that path is the way to achieve the goal. Path is the way to achieve the goal. Now what is the leader who adopted the style, which style he has adopted to achieve that goal. What is the path laid down by the leader for achieving the goal? Now, this path goal theory was originally proposed by Robert J. House. He is the first person to propose the path goal theory, that is Robert J. House. And later, this theory was extended by Gary Dessler. Robert J. House proposed, but extension was made by Gary Dessler. Now, according to this theory, they says that leader's job is most important for influencing the behavior of subordinates. That is the reason the leader's job is classified into three. Leader's job is classified into three. In first one, clarifying the tasks to be performed by subordinates. Now, the first path to be laid down is specifying the tasks that are to be performed by the subordinates. Which person has to do which task, or which person has to do which work. That work should be assigned properly to the subordinates. So, that is the first path to be laid down by the superior or the leader. Next, clearing any roadblocks that prevent goal attainment. Not only assigning tasks, the next path to be laid down is whatever the hurdles that are there in the performance of the task, those hurdles should be cleared by the leader so that it helps in the attainment of the goal. And third one is increasing the opportunity for subordinates obtaining personal satisfaction. Laying path is important, showing the path is important, and making the people move on the path is also more important. They want to walk on their own, and the superior has to give them an opportunity to walk by themselves so that it increases their personal satisfaction. That is the third one. Whatever the path that has been laid down, that path has to be used by the subordinate, and superior only clears the obstacles that are there in the path. So these three things are important for the leader of an organization. The leader's main job is to perform these three things. If all these three things are performed well, then automatically he is laying a good path for achieving the goals of the organization. Now, path goal theory has become most popular because of its simplicity. It is saying in simple words that let the child walk by himself. Let the subordinate do the work by himself. You are only like a parent. Guide the subordinate. Next, other styles of leadership says that intellectual simulation. What is intellectual simulation? Characteristics of leader. Now, whatever the leadership styles we discussed, the most important characteristics that are to be adopted by leader, which helps in the attainment of the goals. The first characteristic is intellectual simulation. What is intellectual simulation? It is the behavior that influences the followers to view problems from a fresh perspective and with a new increased awareness. So, whatever the problems that are there in the organization, that are to be viewed with a different perspective, and it increases awareness so that it influences the employees to follow him. That is intellectual simulation. Next, individualized consideration. What is individualized consideration characteristic? A behavior that provides coaching, support, and encouragement of specific followers. Now, it is such a type of behavior of an individual or a leader where a leader provides coaching to the subordinates, he gives his total support to the subordinates, and encourages his followers also. So, in the second characteristic, he is mainly acting as a coach and encouraging followers, and this helps in clearing their doubts also. That is the second characteristics, individual consideration. Next, third characteristic which a leader should adopt is inspirational motivation. Now it says that it is a behavior that models high values and includes communication with an inspiring vision. That is, this type of inspirational motivation characteristic of a leader has a high behavioral value. Importance is given to the behavior of the individual, and his communication is in such a way that it creates an inspiring vision among the employees, and it also promotes powerful symbols to simulate greater effort and feeling of belongingness. Whatever the communication that he is making with the subordinates, it acts as a powerful simulation, and it gives a sense of feeling of belongingness among the employees. Now, this is the most important characteristic because it motivates to a maximum extent the subordinates in the organization. It inspires the subordinates in the organization. So, that is the reason it is called as inspirational and motivational characteristic. It is inspiring and motivating the subordinates also. Next, idealized influence, next characteristic. It says that a behavior that arouses followers to feel a powered identification and strong emotions towards the leaders. Now, his followers are feeling a sense of identification and they are having a strong emotion of attachment with the leader. He is acting like an ideal to the subordinates. So, he is setting as an example for the subordinates. These are the important characteristics for a leader. We can say them as 4 I's. Intellectual simulation, 1 I. Second I, individualized consideration. Third I, inspirational motivation. Fourth I, idealized influence. So, if these 4 I's are adopted by an individual or a manager in the organization, then it helps in achieving the objectives of the organization. So, all these are the different styles of leadership. Whatever the traits theory, which I explained, leadership style traits theory, Blake and Mountain theory, path goal theory, Fiedler's contingency theory, Ohio State University, and Michigan State University, all these theories are the basic leadership styles mentioned by all the authors. Whatever the leadership styles that are mentioned, are to be adopted by the individuals depending on the situation and on the basis of requirements in the organization. The leadership styles to be adopted, and a manager at times has to make a self knowledge of himself whether whatever style adopted by him is acceptable to the employees or not. Self knowledge is more important for him so that he can become a successful leader. Thank you.